Hey everyone, welcome to the German Show. Today I have on a very special guest, my brother, Cody Garman. So I want to talk just briefly about the family dynamics that a stroke brings. So I had my stroke when I was 15 years old. That was in 1997. Ben was born in 1991, so that would have made him 6 years old. Now, obviously, Ben, you were six. So do you recall anything at 6 years old from that time frame?
You know, um, Not much, but I do have one like very vivid memory, and it's been so long now that I don't even know if it's my brain that's kind of formulated or created this in my own head or what. But I do, when I look back to that experience, I do have one memory of looking over, seeing you on the couch, and it was the first seizure that I had ever witnessed,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a bad one. Like you were slamming your head against the back of the couch, your eyes were on the back of your head. Mom and Jessica were just in a full panic mode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, you know, just that memory of you rocking back and forth, slamming your head on the back of the couch is really the only vivid memory that I have of that whole experience. I don't really have many memories of you being in the hospital,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy to think because you were in there for so long.
Right.
But I'm also very notorious for having a bad memory, so maybe that has a little something to do with it. But yeah, that one memory to me stands out pretty significantly.
Yeah. And that memory right there is when they actually discovered that I had my AVM. And then, they went in, did the surgery, and that's when I had my stroke. So, we went through, the whole surgery and whatnot. I had my stroke, was in the hospital for several months, went through the recovery process. Now, you already stated that you don't really recall that process, or you don't have any memories from that. But would you agree to some extent that it kind of changed or shifted the family dynamics, if you think that at all?
I don't think that I realized it growing up,
Mm-hmm.
how much it changed things because I don't have too many memories of what it was like before.
Right.
But now that I'm older and I can look back and reflect on what it was like growing up and some of the things that we went through, and how things kind of how our family began to shape over time. I can't. I mean, I feel like there's not a shadow of a doubt that your experience had a lot to do with that. Your stroke had a lot to do with that.
Yeah. And when I appreciate that, now when looking back on that time frame, and as you progress getting older, when was it that you actually, because a lot of people don't understand what a stroke is, and obviously being that young, when was it that you actually knew and found out what a stroke actually was?
Um, I guess it was just like a slow kind of accumulation of learning all the, that a stroke is and the toll it takes on the body, what actually happens inside the brain and everything else. I don't think it was just like, 1 year or one specific
Right.
moment that I feel like automatically understood this concept because for the longest time, I didn't even really, if somebody asked me what happened, the answer was always brain surgery. I didn't even know, the stroke and everything, like none of that came out of my mouth. It was always just, he had brain surgery. I remember I would always like talk about how like you had the scar on your head and your head was cut open and everything else. And because as a kid, that's like
Right.
what stands out. That's what's the visual component was that's the scars that you sustained from that. So that's kind of what I linked to being the cause of it. It wasn't a stroke. It was you just needed brain surgery. So
No, I totally understand that, from this perspective of being so young and, not fully grasping it. And then as you get older, you kind of come to the realization that XYZ happened. And this is, what formulated to get to this standpoint. Now, I want to touch back on a few things here, not to essentially dive back into personal details within our family. But let's not go there. But what other aspects do you think changed as far as the family dynamics?
Like you said, not to like delve into a ton of the drama, but one thing that I can kind of think back to was at first, like your stroke kind of became like this kind of like the family just kind of halted, and it was like a make or break moment. And I think at least for me, Cody, and Jessica, we kind of grew a lot from it. We began to look at it as like a positive. We began to look up to you and think like, oh my gosh, like he just overcame this amazing, incident in his life that would just crush so many people. But here he is. He's still the oldest sibling in the house. He's still doing what he needs to do to look after us. He's, not, we're not here babying him or holding his hand or anything like that, and to us, it really just set the bar so high and made us think to ourselves, no matter what happens in life, like if Mark could do what he did, we got this. So I think it made each of us, a lot better, a lot stronger, a lot more mature because of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I kind of want to touch on that as well, because, as, our sister Jessica, she's only 2 years younger than I was. So she was kind of, thrown into the fire, so to speak. So I was 15 when I had my surgery. Jessica was 13. So, mom and dad were essentially, having to, put their, focus, so to speak, on, me and their everyday life. So she kind of was thrown into the mother role, trying to make sure you guys were fed, getting to school on time. So, dude, you feel like that was taking place?
Oh, most definitely, I think it was. And, maybe your seizure was or your stroke was kind of what started that whole trend that the rest of us kind of followed. Because when that happened, like you said, mom and dad had to focus so much of their attention on you and making sure that you had everything you needed and that you were going to get the best care that you could. And so Jessica stepped up and took, such good care of me and Cody,
Huge,
and then
huge.
And then when you came out of that, you kind of got back to your strength, and a few years had passed, roles kind of began to change in the house with the stuff going on with mom and dad and that kind of thing. And, like I said, maybe it was because Jessica took the brunt of it at first that we all kind of learned from her. And then you took over as kind of like the parent figure for us for a good portion, a few years of our life when, things weren't too great with mom and dad. And then when, you grew up and moved out and, not too long after that or before that, it would have been before that, Jessica did the same. She grew up, moved out. I feel like I did what I could, to kind of take care of Cody and kind of be that buffer between him and mom and dad. And then when I left, you would think, well, there's nothing left for Cody to do, but no, that wasn't the case at all. Mom and dad had gotten to the point where they were so bad. Now Cody's taking care of mom and dad, and so we all kind of had our turn at the helm, taking care of whoever needed it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So would that have been the case if, we didn't have to undergo that? Jessica didn't have to undergo that at such a young age, we had learned so quickly and been able to do it like we did. I don't think so, So.
And that kind of goes along the line, with the thinking. I always believe that everything happens for a reason. And, it's kind of like touching on what you said, Jessica had to switch over to role X. I switched over to role Y. Then you were switched over to role Z, and then Cody switched over to role A and B, and I really believe, that these instances that happen in our lives, shape the person that we become. And, I truly believe that each of us that have grown up to be, the people that we are through the instances that we have all gone through, which not many people, to be honest, can say that they have been through what we have gone through. You know what I mean? So, I just want to say, Ben or Cody, I just want to say, Cody, that I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing the little tidbits that you did. And, I love you, and, you're a rock star. You've grown up to, you were a Marine for 6 years, and now you're, a sheriff deputy, and you're crushing it, and you're about to have a baby here in 2 days. Woo woo! Welcome to parenthood. Welcome to parenthood, bro.
Super exciting.
I know, right? So, congratulations on that. And yeah, I thank you for coming on the Determined Show and sharing your life experience with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to kind of voice some of that stuff, because it's good stuff to talk about. I love you.
I love you too. Don't hang up.